goal post. You have to kick the ball. Now, what will be your plan? We will try to kick the ball inside the goal post. Am I right? And now, wherever inside the goal post you kick the ball, your team will get a score. This is called goal post philosophy. This is called goal post philosophy. The pillars of the goal post are nothing but the specification limit. Upper specification limit, lower specification limit. Customer wants you to produce a product with a hardness of or a compressive strength of, let us say, some Newton per millimeter squared or something. Hardness is, let's say, 100 Newton per millimeter squared. That is the compressive strength you require. And now that 100 is here. And now your customer places order for 10,000 units. Is that all 10,000 units will have exact 100 Newton per mm squared as the strength?
No, sir.
No.
There will be some variation in it.
Because variation is unavoidable. There are many ways variation accumulate. So customer will give you a tolerance. 100 plus or minus 5, okay for me. In the worst case, strength should be 95. In the best case, it is in the other side, it is 105, but my requirement is 100. Now, the pillars are understood, the specification limits are understood, right? This is USL and this is LSL. According to goalpost philosophy, if you produce products anywhere inside the specification limit, your product is okay, accepted by the customer. But what Taguchi is saying, when the customer has a requirement of 100 Newton per mm squared, try to give him the products with the strength around 100 only. Don't deviate from the 100. If you deviate, see, up to 105, customer is ready to accept. For that matter, you should not give him 104. You know why? If you try to produce 104, if something goes wrong, instead of 104, it will come as 106. Isn't it? So, what is that Taguchi is telling you? If the customer wants 100, you try to focus that only. Even if something goes wrong, 100 something goes wrong, 100 becomes 102. Now the 102 is still inside the requirement. This is called Taguchi's philosophy. Quality loss is minimum when you work around the target. Quality loss will increase if you move away from the target. Let us take a very simple example. What is the normal BP level for a human being?
120 by 80.
Okay, let us say 80 to 120. So 80 is our lower specification limit. Am I right? So we don't want our BP to go below 80. And then 120 is upper specification limit. And now I'm randomly checking your BP level. Your BP levels are around 100. What does it mean? You are leading a very healthy life. Am I right? Am I right or not? And somebody, the reading is 140. Now his BP is more, right? And but somebody, the BP level is 118. What does it mean? What do you understand by 118? 118, is it close to the the specification limit or close to the center?
Upper limit.
Close to the
upper
specific.
limit.
You are a doctor and your patient reading is 118. Will you try to give him some advice or will you tell him, no, okay, you're all right, nothing to worry? What will be your suggestion to him? You have already reached the border. That means very soon you are going to become maybe,
High BP.
high BP. So you have to be careful. Will you tell that or not?
Yes,
sir.
yes.
This is called Taguchi's philosophy. So according to Taguchi, you must always try to stay around the target. Any deviation from the target means your product started failing. If 100 is possible, why do you go to 102? That is the question. Right? 102 is acceptable by the customer. But if 100 is possible, why do you produce 102? So keep everything around the 100. That means if the customer continuously use your product, if something goes wrong, 100 will become 102. Suppose 100 can become 103. But since 103 is acceptable, if you produce everything around 103, what will happen? As the customer uses your product, very quickly 103 will cross 105. As a result, your product will fail within the warranty period. Am I right or not? Any product, some warranty claims are also there. You have to be very careful about it. So If you really want to want your products to go through the warranty period comfortably, the best idea is produce products around the center, around the target. This is called Taguchi's philosophy.
Food
So
industry probably is one example. Food industry of, even simple catering or even drugs.
yes, everything. Not only food industry. For example, imagine the training itself, you take it. We are conducting the training program. I want to understand the quality of the training. So what do? We conduct some test. Right? We conduct some test. All of you are scoring the mark. If all of you score around 70, what does it mean? All of you score around 70. What does it mean?
All are good.
Training effective. Effective training.
Training is effective. All are good. And this is the result we wanted to produce. That is what it means. Our program has the capability only to make you score 70 marks. Clear? If the average mark is 70, it simply means our capability is 70. Anybody joins our program, you can expect a mark around 70. That is the average mark speaks. That is why each one of you are around 70. If the requirement, let us say the pass mark is 80. Pass mark is 80. And now all your scores are around 70. Is it not a loss? Is it not a loss?
Yes.
Requirement is 80. But we are making everybody score around 70. 70 is far away from the targeted value. That is a loss. In the same education system, when I put you on the other side, all of you scored 90. Now what does that mean? 80 is the requirement, but all of you scored 90. Now is it a loss or a benefit?
Benefit.
It looks like a benefit, but at the same time, when you are designing a system targeting your student to score a mark of 80, if you also achieve it, that will reflect the effectiveness of your system. Right? 80 is what you plan and 80 is what actually happens. That reflects the effectiveness of your system. If some of the students score 95 or 100, does it mean your system made the student to score 100 mark? It is some extra effort the student has put in, isn't it? Because every student has scored around 80, only few students have scored 100. So why they scored 100? Because they have put some extra effort. So always, if a number is away from the targeted value, that gives you a strong information. So
in this case, like, if it is few who have scored, who have gone above the specification limit, that is 80, then it does not. But if all, then certainly there is something to be, that's another strong indication.
If all are going, that's a strong indication that you improved your
assessment,
system.
the evaluation. Acha, okay.
If one of the students scores 100 mark, it doesn't mean you taught well. But we take it in the other way. One student scores 100 mark, we prize the teacher like anything. Oh, you made a student to score 100. And on the other hand, one student scores 0, and now we terminate the teacher. Both the teacher is not responsible. What is average? That is what you are responsible. What majority does, what majority happens, that is what you are responsible, right? And at the same time, I want you to understand, if any point is far away from the center, that will give you a strong message about the deviation. In education system, scoring high mark is good, but in a manufacturing industry or any industry, deviation from the target, both sides may be a problem, isn't it? So you have to be careful with any deviation, right? So Taguchi's philosophy says, produce everything around the target. If you don't understand this, if you think simply producing everything inside the spec is okay for you, that perception will prevent you from feeling the immediate need to improve a process. Sir, already I am producing everything inside the spec. Why do you want me to improve? You need to improve. It is something like your BP level is around 118. Today you are healthy, but tomorrow you are going to have a high BP issue. So you need to be proactive. Bring your BP level around 100 and then continue leading your life. Clear? This is TAGUCHI'S philosophy. Yeah, any question?
At home. Can I come in?
Yes, sir,
Sir.
please. Yeah.
Hello. Can I come?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. Madam, you are asking for an example in food industry, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I will tell you. In chips, there is a video he is having it. He will probably show you the salt content in a chips and then the thickness of the chip are all inspected for specification thicknesses. And then Lay's, probably it was out of market for some time because it was not meeting the specification limits.
Right.
And then in tea industry, there is a taste. There is a taster there. That is, the person's job is to only taste the tea and then say that it is as per the specification or not, as per it's a good tea or not. Accordingly, they will divide the tea into different categories, A, B, C, and then even at home, sometimes if you are going to prepare for a large number of people, they taste. It's a specification test only, right? Without specification limits. I think these are all some of the food industries you can think of, where testing is important. Proactive testing is important to see that the product is always better. Okay.
Thank you, sir, for pointing out few examples. Of course, specification limits exist in every product. You buy a product, see its pack, there will be specification, right? And all those specification, your product should meet, and then only you consider it as a quality product. And there are several framework that exist, several strategies that exist. One of the framework is your the balanced scorecard. And according to the balanced scorecard, I already taught you, profit is one pillar, and customer is another pillar, and then effective utilization of resource is another pillar, and then innovation is another pillar, right? So the ability to make profit is very, very important for any company. So how is your company performing with respect to the profit? Is that your company's profit margins are thick or very thin? How do you know? You require metrics. You require metrics. Those metrics are called financial KPIs. KPI means key performance indicator. Similarly, your ability to create new customers. New customers are coming and buying your product, and all the old customer, they continue using your product. That is your ability to retain the customer. How do you understand how are you performing with respect to that? Based on certain customer KPIs. Isn't it? Nowadays, every time customer satisfaction score is asked, the promoter score is asked. They ask you, if you how much would you recommend our product to your friends and colleagues? They will ask you to give a score of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. So what are they trying to understand? They are trying to understand their ability to create new customer, isn't it? When you are recommending, then that means they are going to get a lot of new customers. So likewise, some numbers are always required. And then effective utilization of resources. You have a lot of resources in your company. Each machine is costing few crores, and certain machines are costing 40 lakhs, 30 lakhs. Do you use all the machine throughout the day, or is it in a month you use those machine only for 10 days, or in a shift you use the machine only for 1 hour? How effectively you are utilizing the resources? If you don't utilize the resources effectively, the cost of your product will be very high. You will lose, your product will lose the competitiveness. So in order to understand, you require process KPIs. Similarly, innovation. How are you differentiating your product from the competitor? What is that unique feature, additional feature your product has got from your competitor? For that, continuous improvement of your products and services is very important. Otherwise, what will happen? Your competitor will outperform you. So how do you understand whether your company is working in that line properly or not? You require KPIs related to learning and growth. Whether all your employees are trained or not. What are their skill levels? Where they lag and what is their strength? And then you must continuously. So any number you use to understand your financial performance, like revenue, expense, return on investment, these will be taught to you tomorrow. Dr. RK will teach you what is return on investment and what is cost of goods sold, anything related to the certain important financial metric. He is going to teach you tomorrow. Similarly, customer KPIs, certain numbers are certain KPIs are here. Customer satisfaction score, revenue per customer and customer retention, and then process KPI. Some of you told inventory management, right? What are your inventory level? What is your WIP? What is your FG inventory? And what is your raw material inventory? And what is your inventory turnover ratio? That will decide your cash conversion cycle, right? And similarly, learning and growth, the skill level. That is why, you have several departments in your company. Each department probably might work on one of the pillar. Ultimately, what we want is we want all the pillars to be strong and equally strong. Then only you will see a long-term success. So we can have we can find out KPIs. If you are able to find out KPI, you are able to understand your performance, right? If you can identify if you are very good in identifying the KPI, then you are very good in understanding your problem. Sometimes we call it pain metric, or sometimes we call it success metric. Anyway, this is called what? KPI. We call a number as KPI if it helps you to understand whether a goal can be achieved or not. By seeing a number, if you can understand whether you are going to achieve the goal or not, then the number is called KPI. Otherwise, it is just a metric. All KPIs are metrics, but not all metrics are KPIs, right? And for a banking, I have listed few KPIs, right? See here, client survey score. I think all of you will be able to easily understand this. Average time to close the issue. A customer raises a complaint, and on an average, how much time the bank takes to solve your issue. For example, your account is not working. Now you raise a complaint. And now what is the average time your bank takes? Is it talks about your the performance, isn't it? First contact resolution, FCR. To get my problem solved, how many person I should contact? Now tell me, what should be your goal? FCR should be high or low?
Low.
Should be low. Right? Any problem, if it happens, with one, just I contact one person and he resolves. Now company resources are used wisely, right? New account setup error rate, and accounts opened with insufficient documentation. Similarly, you can keep on highlighting a lot of metrics. Six Sigma is all about identifying the right metric and then improving it. The metric that will truly reflect your performance, that will truly reflect your problem, and then improve it. This is called Six Sigma, right? Your market share, it can be your share price, it can be your ability to make your deliveries on time. And similarly, some KPIs related to productivity. I have put the examples related to bank because all of you can easily understand. Total volume of accounts your bank handles. That's a productivity KPI, right? Operating profit per employee, the sales that is happening, in every branch, the number of workflow processes implemented. These are all some KPIs. Similarly, finance KPIs, revenue, expense, operating profit, operating expense as a percentage of assets the bank is holding, and return on assets. All right. So